I know how I treat them. I have a large percentage in my jails. They sleep in the hot tents, 148 degrees in the summer.
I love this guy. Joining us right now at Houston's Morning News, Sheriff Joe Arpaio. Sheriff, welcome to Houston's Morning News. What a pleasure it is to have you on with us.
Good morning.
Good morning. Sheriff, why doesn't every sheriff in every county do what you do when it comes to treating prisoners the way they should be treated?
You know, I'm the sheriff from Maricopa County, Arizona, elected by the people. I'm not going to comment on other sheriffs. They have their own constituency and their own program. So I do what I feel is right for the 4 million people that I serve in this county.
But you do it, in many people's opinion, you do it the right way. You don't coddle your prisoners. You don't give them the TVs and the gyms and the libraries and all of that. And that could be done in other counties if sheriffs wanted to do that. And I would assume it detours crime in your county, doesn't it?
Well, I hope it does. At least it saves money, although I don't do it to save taxpayers' money. I do it anyway. If I had $1 billion, I don't think they should live better in the jails than they do on the outside. So that's one philosophy I have that may be old-fashioned.
Sheriff, would you agree that our prisons, for the most part, are a little too cushy, and that we just don't? They're not deterrents anymore?
Yeah, I agree with that. Just talk about food. That's a big issue in prisons and jails. Our food cost is 50 cents a day, not a meal. They get 2 meals a day, one bologna sandwich, and at night they get a hot meal. They get their calories. It's about 3,200 calories. You know, how many calories you need. That's the way I operate.
I think it's terrific. Let me ask you this. How many times have you been sued there, Sheriff Joe? I mean, there's a lot of people that don't like what you're doing.
Well, I joke. I get sued when I go to the toilet. They sue me. So, okay. You know, you do what you feel is right. That's part of business. Sometimes you get sued. We win most of them anyway. You never hear about that.
How come you're not running for president?
Well, I was in New Hampshire a few months ago talking to 1,000 Republicans. I just got back from Iowa. By the way, I have to thank the Houston police because they made sure I got my connection in Houston. I want to thank them for that. No, I'm not running for president. I do have presidential candidates that visited me. Michelle Bachmann came to my office last week. We spent an hour. She's a nice lady. Governor Perry called me a couple of weeks ago. Your governor.
Yeah.
Mitt Romney called me. So, hey, they want to talk. I'll be willing to talk.
All right. Sheriff Joe, hang on one second. When we come back, I want to ask you about Perry and Romney and the border in just a second.
You're back with more Matt Patrick.
KTRH News Time is 8:52. We're talking to Arizona Sheriff Joe Arpaio. Sheriff, welcome back to Houston's Morning News. Thanks for taking the time. What do we need to do on the border? What would you like to hear Perry or Romney or any of the GOP candidates say about the border?
Well, first of all, take away that first. Now there's a new buzzword. We must secure the border first before we look at immigration in the United States. We lock them up in the United States. We raid businesses. My office does. Crack down on those coming in our county and enforcing the state laws. So let's knock off the rhetoric and say first. That's a cop-out to not enforce the illegal immigration laws and come up with comprehensive immigration in the interior. So we have to enforce the border. You have to enforce the laws. If they cross that border, they violated the law. If they're in the United States, you arrest them. If you have a fence, they want to build fences. Then when you come over the fence illegally, you put them in jail. Nobody talks about that. So that's my philosophy, having spent 15 years as a top federal law enforcement guy in Mexico City, Texas, and Arizona.
Sheriff Joe, last question for you, and thanks again for your time. Is there a candidate that you see now that is speaking the language that you want to hear? Is it a Romney? Is it a Perry? Is it a Bachmann? Or haven't you made up your mind?
Well, I haven't made up my mind. Your governor seems to be pretty outspoken and tough, but I haven't made up my mind. I was a campaign guy for Romney 3 years ago, Bush in 2000. You do have some good people from Texas. I was head of the DEA in Texas, covered that border So we'll see what happens as time progresses.
All right. Arizona Sheriff Joe Arpaio joining us this morning. Sheriff, thank you so much for your time, sir.
Thank you.